We get the memo.
All of the bad feelings have disappeared. Here's the rainbow I've been praying for. It's gonna be a bright, bright, sunshiny day. It's gonna be a bright, bright, sunshiny day. Look all around, there's nothing but blue skies. Look straight ahead, there's nothing but blue skies. I can see clearly now the rain is gone. I can see all the obstacles in my way. Gone are the dark clouds that had me blind. It's gonna be a bright, bright, sunshiny day. It's gonna be a bright, bright, sunshiny day. It's gonna be a bright, bright, sunshiny day.
Good morning. Welcome to Unity of the Seacoast for Sunday, July 9th, 2023. Whoever thought we'd make it this far? Anybody here? I didn't. I'm about 50 years overripe. Well, if you are unshut off on your cell phone here, please. Now is a good time to do it. And if you're at home, whatever you find joy in, the Joyful Noise Choir with the addition of some percussion. Thank you, Ernie, this morning. And if you are a new viewer, thank you for finding us today and hope you will enjoy the service and come back to see us some more. We like to begin our service with the daily word, and today's word is power. I look within and discover my power. Great power lies within me like a treasure chest full of gold and precious jewels buried in my own backyard. It's so close that I sometimes overlook it, leading me to search near and far, seeking strength and value outside myself. Yet my power is in my potential, a gift for me to discover. I'm endowed with wisdom, love, and creativity, gemstones meant to be uncovered and shared with the world. I'm rich in my capacity to use these gifts to reach goals and create my life with intentionality. As I think, speak, and behave in accordance with my divine abilities, I share my treasures. I'm going to dive back into that one. As I think, speak, and behave in accordance with my divine abilities, I share my treasures. I bring into the light the hidden parts of myself, knowing my power comes from expressing my best self. And from Ephesians chapter 2, verse 10, for we are what he has made, created in Christ Jesus for good works, which God prepared beforehand to be our way of life. The daily word is power. I look within and discover my power. And I would invite everyone here to please join me in that. Why not? Our mission statement here at Unity of the Seacoast is where I'm going to nurturing community, dedicated to being a positive path to spiritual living, to awaken oneness with God within us all. And we are invited each week to think about what can we do to actually take that mission and turn it into action during the week. So what can I do this week to help people see the divinity within them? Good positive feedback is a nice way to love the people around us. And I find that it's much more effective if I look at them and find the positive things rather than just making things up. People appreciate the truth when they hear it. So rather than just going blubbity, blubbity, blah, you're really cool, say, I see how you walking your truth in the world affects the people around you, including me. Thank you for that. So, we'll keep going. If you have not yet visited our website, if you go to unityoftheseacoast.org, you can find out we have a calendar there with our upcoming events on it. And it also has buttons that will take you directly to our Facebook page, our YouTube page, and our Meetup page. Facebook and YouTube, we are streaming live on every Sunday morning and also archiving the past services and other things that we've done. And on Meetup, you can find out the events that are coming up in more detail, so that if I tell you that on the first Monday of the month, we have a online meditation, which is on Facebook Live only, and that one will be August 7th, or that we have the first Friday of the month, we just had our game night, card and board game night here at Unity of the Seacoast. We have a blast, and everyone is welcome. We have the second Saturday, just yesterday, we had another lively music circle, acoustic music circle, turned into a drum circle, which was just the right thing for yesterday. We also have on the third Saturday of the month, we have a poetry group that's coming up this next Saturday. Our host is Shane Morin, and he has created a lively and educational format for that to happen. So please, you can find more details about those on our meetup page and on the other ones as well. We advertise everywhere. So let's see, next week. Oh, and also there on that page is our donate button. If you like to do things electronically, you can click on that button, and Tithely is the format that we use for our online donating process. And I understand it's fun and pleasurable to do. So do it early, do it often. If you prefer to send paper, a check, to us, then you can send it to Unity of the Seacoast, McConnell Center, Suite 246, 61 Locust Street in beautiful downtown Dover, New Hampshire, 03820. And let's see, upcoming talks. Next week, we're going to have Frank Barron, who will be joining us again for another talk. Thank you for stepping in, Frank. Tom is in the hospital, and we're not sure exactly what his schedule is looking like, so we're not sure exactly what's happening after that, but we'll be planning it week by week. He may be in there for a couple of weeks, he says. We congratulate Sue on successful knee surgery and welcome her back home. And Lynn Richard, who many of you know, is recovering from a concussion. And so I would invite you, anyone everywhere, to pray for those three, particularly at this time. Da, da, da. And if you are here physically, please join us for fellowship after the service today. Next, we have a wonderful gift we give each other every week, which is we use the Sanskrit word namaste to greet one another. It means something like the Christ in me sees and honors the Christ in you. So we put our hands together in prayer position and bow slightly, looking one another in the eyes, and say namaste. If you don't have anybody at home, please join me. Namaste. We're going to take a little namaste break. And if that wasn't enough to brighten up your spirits, we're going to welcome back the Joyful Noisers.
There are three things I do when my life falls apart. Number one, I cry my eyes out and I dry up my heart. Not until I do this will my new life start. So that's the first thing that I do when my life falls apart. The second thing I do is I close both of my eyes and I sing my thank yous to each and every moment of my life. I go where I know the love is and let it fill me up inside. Gathering new strength from sorrow, I'm glad to be alive. Things are looking up. I know above the clouds the sun is shining. Things are looking up. I know above the dark the sun is rising on. There's three little things. Three little things. Third thing that I do now when my world caves in is I pause, I take a breath and bow, and I let that chapter end. I design my future bright, not by where my life has been. And I try again. Yes, I try again. Things are looking up. I know beyond the dark the sun is rising. Things are looking up. I know above the clouds the sun is shining on. Things are looking up. Love is still the answer I'm relying on. Three little things.
Wow. Long ago, there was a blues band called Santana, and they found that when they added congas and timbales to their music, people started getting up and dancing and were much more involved in their performances, and then they became wickedly famous. And I have a feeling that's what's going to happen with Ernie on the drum here. Well, next up, if you've ever been walking by a field and you stopped and you saw a beautiful flower and you went, wow, that's a beautiful flower, and then you walked on, you have an impression of a beautiful flower in your head. But if you stop and spend some time with that flower and you look at it, you begin to see different characteristics of it, color, texture, moisture on it perhaps. It has been our great joy over the last couple of months to spend more time with Amy Joslin, watching as that blossom unfolds, and we're looking forward to more today. Please welcome Amy.
Wow, what a beautiful welcome. Thank you so much. I like being thought of as a flower. So good morning, everybody. It's good to be here again. Just get myself a little settled. There we go. All right, so my talk title today is The Power in a Plot Twist. Now, by show of hands, how many of you either love or have watched a Hallmark movie? All right, so what happens 3/4 of the way through in a Hallmark movie? Plot twist, right? Girl, has a high-paid job in the city, goes to this picturesque country village where you just want to eat Christmas cookies and drink cocoa and look at the decorations all around you, right? She falls in love, and then 3/4 of the way through the movie, plot twist. Her old life comes beckoning back to her, and she has to make the choice of whether she's going to stay in the country village or go back to the city. This is a plot twist. So what is a plot twist, right? So a plot twist is that sudden, unexpected change in the direction of the outcome of a story. Something different has occurred. Circumstances and situations have changed. Plot twists are precipices. They're often defining moments of our soul's ever-evolving, ever-expanding story. And there are two words in the Greek language for time that I think really explain, what a plot twist is. Oh, one of them is. So the Greek have two words for time. They have the word chronos, which is think of a clock or a calendar, tick, 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 tick. That's how we measure time. And then they also have a word called kairos. Kairos is quantitative time. They're quantitative moments. They're qualitative moments. Kairos is that pregnant time of possibility. It's moments in our day, our week, our month, our year, or our lifetime that define us. It's a crossroads. And they are a ripe opportunity that can either make us bitter or better. They're teachable moments. It's the right opportune moment, and they're really neutral, and they're always leave an impact on us. And that's what a plot twist does. That's what a plot twist is. So here are some famous plot twists. Steve Jobs creates Apple computers, gets fired from the company that he started. Later, he comes back to it. Walt Disney, fired from a newspaper for having no original ideas. Right? Oprah Winfrey, demoted from her job as a news anchor because she wasn't fit for television. The Beatles, rejected by Decca Records because they didn't like their sound and they had no future in this business. Right? Myrtle Fillmore, co-founder, had tuberculosis, was very ill. Went to hear a New Thought speaker, E.B. Weeks, and heard a message. I am a beloved child of God, therefore I do not inherit illness. And her life changed. And not only did her life change, but all of our lives changed. We're here because of the healing journal of Myrtle Fillmore. Immaculate Ilbegiza, if you're not familiar with her, she wrote a book called Left to Tell. She's a survivor of the Rwandan Holocaust. If you have an opportunity to read that book, I highly recommend it. Her life changed quite dramatically because of a plot twist. And in the Bible is loaded with them. My favorite plot twist story or character is Joseph, the son of Jacob. Not to be confused with Mary's Joseph. Okay. So, let's think about it. If you're familiar with the story, there's multiple plot twists. The father buys him a fancy coat, which annoys his brothers. He tells them about their dreams, and they plot to kill him. That's a plot twist. The older brother convinces him not to kill him, but then they sell him into slavery. The person that enslaved him, he finds favor with that person, so he makes him like the overseer of his property until his wife makes moves on him, and he takes her word for it, and he gets thrown in prison. But then when he's in prison, he makes friends with a cup holder and then ends up interpreting that person's dreams and then interpreting the Pharaoh's dreams. And in the end, he ends up saving the life of his family and his brothers. So lots of plot twists. So here's the secret to a plot twist, right? The power of a plot twist is in you and me. Right? The power of a plot twist is in us. So why do I think this is worth talking about? It actually happened, the conversation that I was having with Lynn a couple of weeks ago, and we mentioned a plot twist. I said, oh, that might be a good job, a talk title to go on. So it's always worth pondering, because here's the thing, plot twists are universal. We've all experienced them in our life, right? Whether there's something mild like getting stuck in traffic or cut off in traffic. I've met people that are alive today because the morning of September 11th, instead of going directly to work, they stopped and got a cup of coffee, and that's the reason they were able to get out of the building. So we all have plot twists happening all the time. When I think of the folks that I mentioned, there's an energy in them. There's a life force energy that is able to transcend and transform even the most horrific of experiences. It's that spark of divine that always wants to express. And here's the thing, if I see it in them, then it has to also be in me, and it also has to be in you. So if we spot something incredible in another person, if you spot it, you got it. Ralph Waldo Emerson, who was an influence of many in New Thought, but that's how Charles Fillmore and Myrtle Fillmore met. They met at a study group for Emerson. And Emerson says this, what lies behind us and what lies before us are tiny matters compared to what lies within us. So when we're experiencing a plot twist, our awareness is key to how we're going to navigate that with love and compassion for ourselves and others. The plot twists require something new of us. They require something new. I love the analogy that Jesus gives in Mark 2:22, which is the story about he's saying that you can't put new wine in old wineskins. And I've always wanted to know, why can't you put new wine in old wineskins? And I actually found an article on that by Reverend Wayne Manning, who's a Unity minister. So he says that when wine is new, it's in a state of fermentation. It bubbles and expands as the fermentation gases are released. A fresh and pliable wineskin can absorb such expansion and slowly age with the wine until the fermentation is complete. But if you put fresh wine into an old wineskin, however, it's asking for trouble basically. It's an old wineskin is somewhat brittle. The activity of a new wineskin will stress it beyond its ability to yield, and so you'll end up losing the wine and the wineskin. So what do we hear often? What's the definition of insanity? Doing the same things over and over again and expecting different results, right? Sometimes we can't solve the problem at the level that the problem was created in. We need a new idea. Ultimately, we are the holders of the pen. I love today's daily word about power because we have all the power we need already within us to transcend any circumstance or situation. I saw this today and I loved it. It said that there are two things that define you: your patience when you're struggling and your attitude when you're not. And here's the thing. I don't honestly believe that everything that happens or comes our way is the result of our thoughts and our words. I think sometimes our journeys are interconnected. We're meant to be. So sometimes it's not about me. Sometimes it's about someone else's journey, and sometimes it's about my journey and not about them. So I don't think everything that comes our way is the result of our consciousness, but I do believe that our experience of whatever comes our way is our responsibility, is our consciousness, that we have some control over how we're going to react or respond in different circumstances and situations. So the power of the plot twist is you. You get to write the script of how circumstances and situations are going to turn out. Years ago, when I first came to Unity, and I was still a practicing Catholic at the time, and I had just started coming more to Unity more often, I took a prosperity class. And in that prosperity class, that second class, they had to put out a dream, like a big dream. And I was a little skeptical. But I'm like, all right, I'll play, right? I already signed my covenant with God that said I would take this class for like 12 weeks or whatever it was. And I put out a dream. I said, all right, I want to get a package from my company. I was working for Verizon at the time, been there for 15 years or more, and I want to take a year off to do some healing work. And then eventually I want to open my own center for empowerment. I didn't know exactly how that was going to look. I went to work that Monday, and I almost fell out of my chair. My headset almost fell off because I work for the phone company in the morning. Rumors started going around that they were going to offer a package. They hadn't offered a package like that in 15 years. And I end up leaving. I left my well-paying job at the phone company 40 days later. That was a definite plot twist in my life. I wasn't expecting it. But here it was. And it totally changed the trajectory of my life. And I'll say more about that in just a moment. So how do we navigate a plot twist? Like, when that happens, how do we navigate that? Oh, and an interesting part of that story about, like, I left at the phone company. I'm gone 2 weeks. And I get this letter in the mail. It says, we made a mistake. We weren't supposed to let you go. Please come back to work next Monday. And I literally, I got a little sick. And then I realized that they had sent me the wrong letter initially. So even though they weren't supposed to let me go, they had to let me go because they had sent me the wrong offer letter originally. So there's a plot twist. It was like the universe was saying, are you really sure you're ready to give up your high-paying job for uncertainty? And yeah, so I ended up leaving. So how do we navigate? How do we navigate a plot twist when something has happened that we didn't expect to have happen? I was listening to Rev Michael Beckwith. He's the founder and spiritual leader of Agape out in California. He says this. He says, accept what is and forgive the rest. He says, that job you got fired from, it belongs to someone else. That relationship is over. Stop calling. See, acceptance is key. Now, acceptance doesn't mean that we have to like it or love it or stay in it. It's just simply an acknowledgement that this has happened. You guys, have you ever heard the talk about the three ministers that are going to hell? Okay, so there's three ministers and they're on a bench and they're getting ready to go into hell. One, ate something that was non-kosher. Another person had an affair. And then there's the New Thought Unity minister who's saying, it's not hot. I'm not here. So see, and yet our power isn't in denying what's going on around us. Our power is saying that there is a power and a presence that is within me and with me always that can support me through any challenge or circumstance that we're going through. And I'm just getting my prop. I always have props, right? Because remember, one of the things that I like to do is I have affirmations everywhere in cards and little things that help me to remember the truth when I need it. And one of them is my little frog. Frog stands for forever rely on God. So I know that when circumstances and situations happen around me, it's to remember that God is all there is. In the unity, that first principle is that God is the good God is the absolute good everywhere present. There, yeah. So God is all there is. God is always with me. God is me. That there is no spot that God is not. So grab yourself a frog or some kind of reminder that can remind you when you're when the ship hits the sand or when there's a plot twist that's happening. Resistance to what has occurred can leave us stuck, and it can make it. When we're in that resistance, when we're not liking what has happened, when there's been a plot twist and we don't know what's going on, we can get stuck. We can be like, we're not liking the circumstance and the situation, and it can keep us in resistance, and we can spend a lot of time looking at that closed door when we have a window of opportunity that is right there for us. But it means that we have to let go sometimes of life that we knew it, let go of the certainty that we thought we had. One of my favorite poems from the Sufi mystic Rumi is The Guest House. The Guest House. This being human is a guest house. Every morning a new arrival, a joy, a depression, a meanness, some momentary awareness comes as an unexpected visitor. Welcome and entertain them all. Even if they're a crowd of sorrows who violently sweep your house empty of its furniture. Still, treat each guest honorably. He may be clearing you out for some new delight. A dark thought, the shame, the malice, meet them at the door laughing and invite them in. Be grateful for whoever comes because they're being sent as a guide from beyond. Our gratitude practices can help us, even sometimes if we have to faith it until we make it. Sometimes when I'm not happy with circumstances, I'll sing the song, I'm grateful, so thankful. I am one with the Spirit on, and I'll sing it at the top of my lungs, and then I laugh because it changes the energy for me when I can do that. Gratitude practice, one of the ones that I like that kind of grounds me is the 5 and 5. Think of 5 things that you're grateful for that are within 5 feet of where you're sitting. It's easy to do at home because I sit by my window and I meditate. And usually my cat is usually in close proximity. So, my cat, my bed, the roof over my head, the birds. I love it when I have wildlife that comes by, even though I live in close to the downtown area. I still get to see foxes and opossums and squirrels. So there's usually 5 things. And what that does is it brings me right here in the moment. Remember that good is always available. Forgiveness. And here's what I'm going to say. Sometimes our ego will want to keep us in unforgiven states. And here's the thing, too, I want to be clear on. I love my ego. I don't think sometimes I know some people think of their ego as like this evil twin within them. I don't think that way. I know that if I love my ego, that it only wants what's best for me. It's just, a lot of times it's uneducated and it's immature, and I just need to love it and help it grow and mature. But sometimes it doesn't want me to forgive because it wants to keep me safe. It says that circumstance and situation hurt you, so I don't want you to ever go there again. I don't want you to forgive because then you might get hurt again. So just be aware of that when you find the resistance coming up around doing some forgiveness work. Forgiveness work comes up a lot in Christian scriptures. To me, that's the main teachings of Jesus. He had, one was to love unconditionally and to forgive. And he must have known that, we were going to bump up against each other in this lifetime because, like I said, he mentions it a lot. When Peter's asking him, how many times do I need to forgive? And he's like 70 times 7. Sometimes that 70 times 7 is, sometimes it takes 70 times before we can really let it go. Myrtle Fillmore spent, she wasn't just instantly cured. She spent 2 years in the silence, asking her body's forgiveness for the ideas that she held about it and the way she had talked about her body and the self-deprecating thoughts that she had held in her consciousness about her body. I mentioned Immaculate Ilbagiza, and like I said, if you have the chance to read her book, she was in a bathroom with 7 other women for 90 days, being hidden in a guest room bathroom, why people were outside the window calling her name to kill her. And not only in that moment does she have the divine idea that she needs to learn English, so she starts reading the Bible to teach herself English. But she had a lot of forgiveness work to do when she got out of there, which is in her book Left to Tell. But what they don't talk about is the months that she spent in the covenant afterwards, bawling her eyes out. So sometimes we need to allow ourselves to grieve what has been before we can move on to what's new for us. I mentioned the story about how I left the phone company. Well, I'm glad I did in a lot of ways. Like, doors opened up to me. I got to witness somebody who was waiting for a lung donor receive their lung transplant, and I got to travel with the YOU, the Kids from Unity, which totally blew my mind. But I also, my decision to make that leap hurt people that I love and care about. And when I was pondering this talk, that came back up around for me. So sometimes things cycle around forgiveness, that I needed to do more forgiveness. I needed to forgive myself because I made a decision that wasn't intentional, but I hurt people. I needed to accept and be accountable for that. But then I also needed to forgive myself as well. So sometimes it's about forgiveness of other people, but sometimes it's about forgiving ourselves. And like I said, allowing space for that grief process when things happen. Now here's my favorite tool on how to do this, how to navigate this. Are you ready? When things are happening around you, the thing to do is to yell, "Plot twist!" You'd be amazed at how much it changes the energy just by yelling plot twist. Oh, look, they're working on the bridge. Plot twist! Oh, look. Another bell. Plot twist. Or, oh, look, another growth opportunity. Plot twist. Plot twist. And I love the serendipity things too, because when I was thinking of this as a talk title, the things that come across my feed, one of the people that I follow is Timber Hawkeye, and he wrote a book called The Buddhist Boot Camp, and I follow him online. And so he said, this happened today. One moment changed everything. Whatever I thought the next few days, weeks, months were going to look like, gone in an instant. It's a plot twist. I have no idea where the story goes from here, and I probably actually never did. It's all an illusion. Anything can change in a moment. And I won't get into the detail about my situation because you probably have your own, I'm sure. We are all in this together. So when things don't go according to plan, just yell out plot twist. And stay curious about what's ahead. What's done is done. No point looking back. You're not going that way. The power of a plot twist is in you. Namaste.
I'm in my right and perfect place. When I accept God's loving grace, when I behold the Christ in every face, I'm in my right and perfect place. This is the right and perfect time to let the light inside me shine. My only prayer is let my will be thine. This is the right and perfect time. I'm in the flow of perfect love, receiving blessings from above. I can be all that I've been dreaming of. I'm in the flow of perfect love. I set my faith in God alone. I know the truth will be made known, and every door will open on its own, because I trust in God alone.
Hasn't the choir and Barb and everyone done such a wonderful job? And I'm just grateful for all my roadies too for moving everything around for me as well this morning. Thank you. So what I thought I would do, because I think in the middle of a plot twist, like I said, what happens is sometimes we need to, like I said, forgive before we can move on. So what I'm going to do is lead us through a Christ forgiveness prayer. So what I would say is, just to relax, come into as relaxed a state as you possibly can. Allow your awareness to enter deeply into your heart with a desire for forgiveness to take place on all levels with all souls that you have been associated with. All souls, whether it be a person, a place, a circumstance. Just imagine you are held gently and lovingly in the everywhere presentness of love. Feel that immersion taking place. Imagine that person, place, or thing before you and say, through the Christ in me, I now forgive you. I am only aware of the love of Christ within you. This is your true self. I behold the Christ in you. All is forgiven. Just rest in that until it feels like a reality. You remember when we namaste, we're beholding that higher aspect of that person. Now we're going to reverse and direct the intention to the indwelling Christ and others. We ask the Christ within to forgive you of any wrongdoing that you have directed towards them. Again, immerse yourself. Through the Christ in you, all is forgiven. You are only aware of the love of Christ within me. This is my true self. You behold the Christ in me. All is forgiven. Simply rest in the affirming reality of this. Now there's another step, a Trinity, so to speak, process, that we go even deeper into prayer with the desire in our heart for the Christ within to forgive yourself, to forgive you. You are asking to be healed or forgiven of any unforgiven states of awareness at the conscious and subconscious level that have caused you to function in ways less than love towards yourself and others. And for this one, if you can, put your hand on your heart and really take it in. And say these words silent to yourself. I ask the Christ within to forgive me of any unforgiven states of awareness that are out of alignment with love. I am only aware of the Christ within me, and this is my true self. All is forgiven. I am now free in Christ. We are all now free in Christ. Rest in this and allow it to seep into every cell and organ and tissue of your being. It is believed that this prayer will forgive all ever states when we can do it in a state of humbleness. Let the unconditional love that surrounds you wash over you like a holy raindrops of peace. As we get ready to come back in the room, just think, offer gratitude, say thank you for whatever awareness is brought up, whatever has been released. And if you can, hug yourself. Hug yourself. And silently say to yourself, I behold the Christ in me. And so it is. And when you're ready, you can bring your attention back into the room. And Charlie, are you going to do the prayer time or do you? Okay. Thank you, everybody. So this is the time in the service that I really love when I get to play with, because I love prayer. That we invite anything that you want that is on your heart or mind. It can be a prayer of concern or it can be a prayer of gratitude. Any prayers that we have for anyone in the community or anyone, or if you want it yourself to be held in prayer, you can say those names out loud. Well, I know that we want to pray for Tom. Tom, if you're listening, we lift up our thoughts about you. We see you whole and perfect. We know that the absolute good of God is right where you are, that your body temple is a temple of divine intelligence, and that all that would enliven you, all that would heal, all that needs to be healed is guided to happen so right here and right now. That the universe is conspiring for your good, and that your healing is simple and easy and blesses you and blesses all of those around you. That all that would bring you comfort at this time, all that would give you strength, all that would bring you peace is immediately drawn to you like a mighty magnet. And we are knowing this also for Lynn, that she is a beloved child of the Most High God, created in the image and the likeness of God. That all that would support her healing journey, all that would reveal her innate wholeness is being drawn to her. That all that would support her healing, all that she needs to do to recover and recoup, she now does. And that the divine love surrounds and saturates her as she goes through this healing journey. And we are knowing this also for Sue, who is, her body temple is healing from recent knee operation, right? That our bodies are amazing, right? Thank goodness we don't have to. We don't have to think heal, 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 heal. Just like we don't have to think breathe, 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 heartbeat, and all that. Like there's an innate intelligence within Sue's body that knows how to heal her knee. That she's guided by the infinite wisdom that she has within her to right practices, like whatever it's ice, whether it's physical therapy, whatever would support her knee in being an exquisite organ of, part of her body is drawn to her now. Does anyone else have any prayer requests? Anyone else you want to hold in prayer? Don't be afraid to use prayer. Like it's a foundation of unity teachings. And here's the thing. Sometimes we think we always have to pray for other people. Like it's got to be about another person and it has to be a challenge. You allow yourself to be lifted up in prayer. Like maybe it's that you just want to show up more powerfully in the world around you, that you want to show up as love and compassion. So allow yourself to request prayer for that as well. Because here's the thing, the giver is always the receiver and the receiver is always the giver. So allow yourself to be held in prayer. So what we say to those prayers, both known and unknown, we lift up our thoughts. We know that God is everywhere present as the absolute good, as love, as order, as pure potentiality, as infinite possibility. And that we know that if God is everywhere present, that God is present in each and every one of us. For there is no spot that God is not. Therefore, love is right where we are. Intelligence is right where we are. Beauty and order are right where we are. Pure potentiality and infinite possibility is right where we are. And we give thanks. We give thanks for the ability to hold each other in prayer, because wherever two or more are gathered, mighty in the midst is that Christ energy. So we give thanks for the healing that has taken place. We give thanks for every moment that we remember that we're divine. We give thanks for right and perfect outcomes, even if they come in the form of a plot twist. We let in the good. We let in the love. We let the expansion of our consciousness happen. We allow peace on earth, and we let it be. And so it is. Amen. And
Thank you, Amy, for another inspirational and educational. And I would like to add that prayer is appropriate at any time of the day. Like each morning I wake up, and before I put on my makeup, I say a little prayer for you. Yeah. And now I invite you to join us in another prayer, which is a prayer of loving support through the physical world for us on our mission. And if you would take your offering, please hold it over your heart and join me in the yeah. So, divine love as me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. And so it is. Amen. Thank you.
In this moment, in this place, I remember who I am, letting fear and worry fall away from me. I open my eyes and see there is only love. There is only love. Love that heals, love that sets us free. There is only love. When I lose myself, when it seems I've lost my way, when I go inside, quiet my mind, I can hear Spirit gently say, there is only love. There is only love. Love that heals, love that sets us free. There is only love.
Thank you, Barbara, and thank you, God. And now, if you would please join me for the prayer for protection. The light of God surrounds me. The love of God enfolds me. The power of God protects me. And the presence of God watches over me. Wherever I am, God is, and all is well. And we are richly blessed. And now we'll jump up for Let There Be Peace on Earth. Come on up and hold hands with us.